Here we are. We're beginning our little mukbang. What's going on, baby? Not going to eat with me?
I'm going to sleep. I want to sleep.
Oh, okay. So I'll be doing this pretty much on my own because Jen is so tired. She didn't get any sleep last night. So far, we don't have any viewers. Um, so I'll hopefully be able to get my little phone working here. Can I eat all of this, baby?
Yeah, eat it. Where's the remote?
It's here. Oops. Live. Let's go to the live. Oh, there I am. And so that's good enough. And, that's good enough. There's the repolyo. That's cabbage. There's the repolyo. Oops, we need to turn that. Okay, I got it. Good. Okay, everybody. So we got. Wow, that's hot. Hot bagnet and hot fried chicken. We have sabah. It's a little on the green side. That's okay. We've got our eatlog, eggs. I'll open up this cream. So excuse me just a moment. Nobody's here yet, so that's okay. Let's see. Where are my scissors? My scissors. Use that. My scissors. Well, I'm failing to find my scissors, so I'll use the nail clippers to open this up. Because that works. Yep. Clipped it right off. And tools. I love tools. This is really what separates the hominid species from the primates is tool use, fires and tool use. And so, yeah, my title today is The Buddhist Mistake, and there's a lot of Buddhists that actually believe that the word dukkha was mistranslated, or the word dukkha was lost in translation. And they believe that and of course, dukkha is the premise really for the Four Noble Truths and how to change your life, because they said, oh, the Buddha believed he found dukkha after his 6 years of meditation, and he came to the realization that life is suffering. Well, that's the translation, that life is suffering, or that life is unsatisfactory. And you know that definition never really sat well with me. Um, when I looked up the actual meaning of the Pali word dukkha, Pali is just the ancient Indian language. The Pali language for dukkha, duk meant bad, and Kha, meant hole. So it was a bad hole. And I later, and this is more than 15 years ago now that I learned this. That's when I actually started studying Buddhism. I started studying Buddhism 16 years ago, and what I found is this bad hole referred to the hole in the potter's wheel, because when you have a wheel and it's spinning and the hole is off centered, that's called dukkha, bad hole. And what happens is it makes the wheel wobble. And when that wheel is wobbling like that, it's hard to make a pot. You can make a pot, but the wheel just doesn't work as good. So I think of dukkha as something that doesn't function well. And I think my belief is that when the Buddha um, was ascribed the word dukkha to mental states, he was talking about a mind that wasn't functioning all that well. And you look back 2,500 years ago, during the time of the Buddha. Of course, they didn't have any of the modern conveniences. They didn't have any electricity, so there were no refrigerators and stuff. There were no automobiles. There was no drugs to prolong life. So they claim that the Buddha lived to be 80 years old, and back then that was like a miracle. It really is almost today also, because you look at the average lifespan of a human, it's about 73, 74, 75 years. That's about the average lifespan. It seems to be dropping in the past couple decades. It was up to, I think, in the United States, I think the average lifespan for a male was about 77 years, which has dropped down to 75 now. And for women, it was I was up about 80. In some parts of the world, the women's lifespan seems to be a little bit longer. In some areas, it's a little bit shorter. They've got places like in so dukkha, this life that's dissatisfactory. So when you describe the hole in the wheel, if somebody were to say, oh well, the wheel is dukkha, what that meant was, oh, the hole is off center. What does that mean? It means you're not going to make a good pot. So what can you do about that? Well, you can recenter the hole, right? But if I were to go up to somebody and I was a kid, and they said, oh, that wheel is dukkha, potter's wheel is dukkha, I would say, what does that mean? And they'd say, well, the hole's off center, so it doesn't function so good. But the word has been translated to suffering. You wouldn't say to a child with when you got a potter's wheel and the hole's off center, when they would say dukkha, the child would ask, well, what does dukkha mean? And then you would say, well, the wheel is suffering. That doesn't even make sense. Or the wheel is, it's not satisfied. Or this isn't a satisfactory wheel. It's like, no, that doesn't make sense. Or the potter who's making the pot is dissatisfied. Yeah, that's probably true. But it doesn't tell you what dukkha really means, which is this hole that's off center. So you would say to the child, the hole is off center, and maybe the potter suffers, maybe not. Maybe he fixes it so that it's sukha, the sweet hole. And when you apply this to your mind, you can say, well, what does dukkha for the mind mean? It probably means a mind that's not functioning so well. And Jeremy Griffiths wrote a book on this called Freedom, the End of the Human Condition, where he talks about the triune brain and the limbic brain. Of course, the reptile brain, or the brain stem, as being the first brain, and then the limbic brain, the mammalian brain on top of that, and then the neocortex, which is the higher primate brain, and the hominoid brain. where they get into what you call a state of cognitive dissonance. And for those of you who don't understand cognitive dissonance, let me explain it to you in the form of, say, a bad habit, like smoking cigarettes. You're smoking cigarettes, and you know that that cigarette's going to bring harm to your body, and yet you're smoking the cigarette. So, but what the limbic brain, the emotional brain is going, yeah, but I need that cigarette to calm myself down because I'm so anxious. And besides that, I'm now addicted to the nicotine. But they don't think of that. They just think that the top brain, you know, the neocortex, this real executive control brain, the executive control network, hard to turn on when the emotional brain is really active and saying, I want that cigarette, I want that cigarette. And I think this happens with suffering, where people, they focus on the suffering, which is the actual condition of the limbic brain or the condition of the brain. And so what we want to say is maybe the brain just isn't functioning because the brain is vibrating unpleasantly. So why is the brain vibrating unpleasantly? Well, Carl Jung, the father of psychoanalysis, said, uh, in one of his books, uh, that anxiety is a normal human condition when you're not doing your tasks. So, what are your tasks? Well, they're the same as they were back in the ancient times as they are today. You got to exercise, you got to eat healthy, you need to meditate to clear your mind and focus, uh, and you need to learn the tools of the trade, learn some skills, learn some knowledge. In today's modern age, we have the ability to read and write. We have the ability to listen. Our language is much better. We've got better tools. And so, uh, to me, Dukkha, and this is how we apply it in our organization, the Disciples of Tao, we apply it as the meaning of the word dukkha is not functioning correctly because of a dysregulated emotional mind. So there's so many things that can cause a dysregulated emotional mind when you think about it. And that, oh, we're getting some people on. Let's see here if I can read this. We've got Allison. Hi, did you know me? Yeah, I think I've seen you on here before. Bacon says, how are you, sir? So yeah, I think I recognize both these people. I'm not sure about Bacon, but Allison for sure. Allison Humane. Um, did you know me? Where is she? Hello. Oh, Jen is sleeping. She's right over there. We're in our little quarto. We're in our room, and we went down to Villa Feliciana to celebrate Thanksgiving. In America, it's Thanksgiving, and Jen and I are big into celebrating holidays and birthdays. We love it. It's one of the things that it regulates our emotional mind. It makes us feel good, and we can communicate with people, and we can get together and have good food and good company. Thanksgiving is a perfect time for that because Thanksgiving celebrated in the U.S. and it's been celebrated in the U.S. for about 160 years, something like that. Abraham Lincoln put it in maybe about 1850 or something. I don't know. Whenever he became president, maybe it was 1860 something or late 18. At any rate, shortly into his late, I think it was the 1860s, he made it a national holiday. But that was back in 1860. Good salad. Mm. Bagnat, this is the pork belly, or the jowls of the pork and the pork belly. They boil it. First, they kind of season it up in like a little baking soda solution or salt solution. Soak it, boil it, and then they deep fry it. Mm. It's amazing. Mhm. By far one of my favorite foods. It's got that whitish part is that fat, and there's a little meat there, and then there's this crunchy pork skin, pork belly. It's a little bit of a process. You got to soak it, boil it for about 15 minutes, then you tamp it dry. Don't forget to do that before you deep fry it, otherwise your grease is going to splatter. And we always fry it in coconut oil. I know in the United States they fry it in vegetable oil, but vegetable oils kind of screw you up. I've heard even more so than sugar. So, disciples of Tao, we believe that the mind is dysregulated and not functioning correctly, and we believe that's true because people aren't doing their tasks. Well, what are their tasks? What are your tasks? According to Stephen Covey, it's eat healthy, have a good healthy diet. What mistake did the Buddhists mistake? The word dukkha got lost in translation. From the Pali word dukkha, the Westerners ascribed sukha to it. So now all the Buddhists in the world think of dukkha as suffering, and it's not really suffering. It's not really even a dissatisfaction. It's something that doesn't work correctly because something bad went wrong. The bad things that went wrong with us is our programming. Excuse me just a moment. I left the water running. I could turn it up. So I'm hoping to get hundreds, thousands of people to watch my channel and understand that the Buddhists made a mistake. The modern day Buddhists have made a mistake and accepted the word dukkha as suffering or dissatisfaction. And that is a mistake, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're focused on alleviating suffering or making something more satisfying, wow, that's going to require years and years of work, and very few people are going to accomplish that. But if you think of dukkha as something that doesn't work well or something that's not functioning properly, that's something you can fix. So if you're thinking, hey, my emotional mind is vibrating, well, what causes the emotional mind to vibrate in unpleasant ways? Well, toxic people can do that to you. Eating unhealthy foods can do that to your brain. Lack of exercise can make your brain vibrate because you're going to have anxiety. So you're going to be going, oh, I should be exercising, but I'm not. So you're going to have negative self-talk. The ego is going to start running the show because that ego is right down there in that limbic parietal lobe area there where you're not really using your top brain. Matter of fact, your top brain can't even work. If you have trauma, neuroscientists have determined your top brain won't work. Why? Because when you have chronic anxiety, you're going to be creating cortisol all the time. Low levels of cortisol over time, cortisol itself, you need the right amount, but too much prevents the top brain from lighting up and turning on. So if you really want to become enlightened, you're going to have to lower the cortisol levels to where it's a sort of a pulsed type thing, because you want to stress yourself in pulse type fashions. It's like when I exercise, I train to failure. So what I do is I'll do a very light exercise like walking, and I'll walk for say like, a kilometer, and then I'll stress myself up and pick up the pace and do a little bit of running, but I'll only do that for 30 seconds to a minute, so that I don't stress my joints too much. But I have enough stress to where I'm breathing deep, and then I just continue to do that over and over. So then I'll walk 3 minutes, nice, regular, even pace, just breathing deep. And then for about 30 seconds to a minute, boom, I'm going to do a little bit of a run. It'll start off as a run. I'll do 15 minutes of sprint, then I'll slow down a bit, then I'll go back to my walking. And you do this with your study habits too. You want to break your study habits up so that it's fun and you're pulsing. This way it goes deep into your subconscious mind. If you don't get information into your subconscious mind, you're not going to remember it. Your subconscious mind rules your life. And if you don't believe that, read that book by, I think his name's Robert Dolbecky. It's called Your Subconscious Mind Rules Your Life. He wrote, it's not Robert Dolbecky. He's a physicist, actually. He wrote The Drunkard's Walk, too. That's a really good book. Cannot remember his name for the life of me. But good books. Your Subconscious Mind Rules Your Life, and The Drunkard's Walk. And believe it or not, we're walking through life like drunks. Why? Because our brains we've programmed them, or they were programmed for us. Jen and my goal is not only to maintain a good quality of life for ourselves and achieve well-being. Oh yeah, Jen is fine. She's just sleeping. She didn't get a good night's sleep. She's fine in that she has her Zumba tonight, and she's had this cold for about a week, and so her nose is all snotty, and she's coughing, and she's run down. She did a really good workout this morning. She kind of pushes herself too hard, but last night she stayed up all night because the kids and her friends were down at Feliciana, having, their karaoke and their Thanksgiving party and stuff. I was down there for a bit, but I didn't want to stay the night with the kids. Hot pepper, guys. Okay, not bad. And now she needs to get some rest because I think at about 4:30 she's going to be going and doing Zumba with her senior group. Everything that Jen and I do is for free. A lot of people don't follow us because they think, oh, well, they don't have any skin in the game. They don't have any money invested. I'm here to help out everybody. Some people can't afford to do what we're doing. Some people can't afford the professional help, the psychological help. If somebody's having psychological problems, Jen and I can help direct you to the YouTube channels and to the physicians that are going to help you. If you're having anxiety or depression, we're going to direct you to the experts. We're not experts. We're just really good at doing what we do. I'm an NLP trainer. I'm an expert in the practice of Buddhism. How do I practice Buddhism? Different than just about every Buddhist on this planet. Number one, I recognize dukkha as a mind that's not functioning correctly. Number two, I realize the cause of that mind that's not functioning correctly is what Jeremy Griffiths describes as the problem with the triune brain, where your limbic brain, your emotional brain, is not in alignment with the cognitive thinking brain, so you get what you call cognitive dissonance. And so cognitive dissonance is going, if you're having confusion, anxiety, depression, your brain is not functioning correctly. All of those things, anxiety, depression, confusion, wandering thoughts, ruminating thoughts, worry. Worry are the thoughts. Anxiety is the actual unpleasant feeling that you get, the vibration. So that's the feeling. So, and when you have core beliefs, the emotional, the ego is going to take over and try to protect you, put you in survival mode, and it's going to protect that bullshit that you're trying to, that doesn't even need protecting. It's like when you're born, you're given a name, you're born in a certain nation, so you're oftentimes given a religion, and you have family values. And here you are running through your whole life protecting these crazy family values. I saw a young lady beating her kid with a stick today. And the little girl's only like 7 or 8 years old. It's like, oh my God. What can you do about it though? You know? And that's life. It's like corporal punishment never changes anybody, you know? And I don't know, I know that she took her teddy bear away from her, and it was not a pleasant thing to watch, but it is what it is, and there's nothing I can do about it. Now, in Disciples of Tao, if we have a platform, I can help that kind of a situation by inviting people into our group who don't abide by corporal punishment and who are wishing to develop good moral and ethical lives. Because if you don't have a good moral and ethical life, your brain is going to have guilt and shame. It's not going to vibrate correctly. And this leads to a suffering mind, you know, a mind that doesn't function well, a mind that's creating too much cortisol. And when you create too much cortisol, the noggin, the top big human brain, you can't turn on, just can't. Try turning on your top brain when you're angry. Try turning on your learning brain, your thinking brain, your brain that's free of the me, my, I network. Try turning that on when you're upset, when you're confused. You can't. This is what Buddhism helped people to do. It helped free people from that emotional brain. The problem is in modern day Buddhism, that's all they're doing. They're just getting the brain to stop vibrating. They're not taking any action. They're not creating any agency. They've got the ability now to turn on their top brain, but they're satisfied with just turning off the emotional brain. And that's not the purpose of Buddhism. I think the real purpose of Buddhism was to get people off their ass and on their feet, to take action. Because if you know, it's like Napoleon Hill said in his book, Think and Grow Rich. If you want the formula for success, it's really simple. Think, that means rational, reasonable, critical thinking, and think and take action. It's thinking plus action equals results. Now, if your thinking is emotional thinking, if it's egoic thinking, if it's colored with thoughts of me, my, and I, if you're angry or frustrated or confused or overwhelmed, you can't turn the top brain on, so you're not really thinking. That's not thinking. Don't worry if you don't get all this. We'll make some special videos to help you. It's a little bit complex and it takes a while to put it into your subconscious mind. But once you do, your life changes. Then you start doing those things that help you develop agency. And everybody's responsible for the same tasks. You're responsible for the amount of information you put in your head and the quality of information you put in your head. You're responsible for exercising. You're responsible for this physical body. I can't take responsibility for you. You're the one who has to eat healthy. You're the one who has to stay away from all that sugar. You're the one who has to break the bad habits. I'm just a guide. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I'm a teacher. And if you don't agree with me, go out there and find somebody else who can do it. I have an amazing life. And the reason is because I have had hundreds of coaches and teachers and mentors, and I never shy away from learning from anybody. Everybody knows something you don't know. When I'm with people, I listen twice as much as I talk. Mm. I've noticed over the years that as I'm aging, um, when I'm talking to people and eating at the same time, my eating really slows down, and I get flavor fatigue faster. You know what I mean? So Jen prepared all that food for me. Mmm, that is so crunchy. And I know I'm not going to be able to eat all this. But I'm going to eat some of the salad because I like the, they say you don't need fiber, but I like it and it feeds my gut bacteria. Whoops. Hang on. I got the shot. That hurt. Let's see if that helped. Yeah, maybe that's a little better. So we're through for Thanksgiving here in the Philippines, and now it's Thanksgiving evening there in the United States. I think in the East it's like 2 in the morning, and in the West it's like 10 in the evening. So 2 in the morning, it's that Black Friday where they have all these, the corporations put out these crazy shopping deals to bring you in and spend your money. I'm not a big fan of consumerism. I used to be a real big consumerism person, and this was 15 years ago, and then I just quit. How did I quit? Well, my ex-wife left me, and so I stopped trying to please her. Now you're probably living a sad life. About 80% of the people on the planet live a very sad life if they're trying to please other people. And it turns out about 80% of the people in the world are highly empathetic and highly compassionate, but they don't have much compassion for themselves. So they're always taking care of other people, but they're not taking care of themselves. And the people who are most likely to take advantage of your good nature are the bad people. The people I classify as people who are self-absorbed and only seek pleasure, and they don't give a shit about other people, so they just do harm. That's their whole life, is they intentionally do harm to other people so that they have pleasure. One of the greatest pleasures of a narcissist, a malignant narcissist or a narcissistic sociopath, just your run of the mill covert narcissist, one of their greatest pleasure is manipulating good people, and it works. For them, life is a game. Whoever dies with the most toys wins, and they're out to get the most toys and prove that you're stupid and they're not. And they're going to run roughshod over you if you let them. I did for 55 years. I neglected my health. I was never taught by my parents to take care of my health. But you know, after you turn 18, it may not have been your fault, but it is now your responsibility to take care of your health. And the majority of the people on this planet never figure that out. They have the desire to have an amazing life, but they spend their whole life working for corporations or the family or trying to please people. Number one, you can't please other people. And number two, you're going to let your health go to hell by spending all your time trying to please these people. And number three, nobody's coming to save you. Until now, I will save those people who want to be saved. I will help you overcome your anxiety. I'll help you overcome your depression. I'll help you understand and overcome that confused mind, those wandering, ruminating thoughts. But I do ask that you put in the effort and exercise, diet, meditate, study, give up all them fucking bad habits. And please don't support toxic institutions or organizations, because that's counterintuitive to your well-being and mine. People who have religions are never going to work for me. I will accept any agnostic atheist who has a lot of compassion and is willing to put in the effort and hasn't voted for somebody like Donald Trump or committed any horrible crimes. Sorry, but I'm going to take the very best people. And sad people are good people. They're just sad people. I'm not going to take bad people. I'm not going to take people who are mad. Mad people are stupid people. Mad people inadvertently do harm to other people, and they inadvertently do harm to themselves. They're completely mad. They're angry. They're frustrated. And they're not doing their tasks. They're not exercising. They're not meditating. Some of them do, but they don't have that. They don't have those wheels all balanced. Their chakras aren't in alignment. They're impetuous. They focus more on loyalty than they do on integrity. And it's like, oh, please. Why would you be loyal to somebody like Elon Musk? Elon Musk is not a good person. He's a racist, a homophobe, a xenophobe. He's got a lot of money. He could help a lot of people. And what is his goal? I want to go to Mars. I hope his wish comes true. Elon's a bad person. He's a stupid person. Trump is a bad person. He's a stupid person. Kamala Harris, she's a sad person. She's a good person. She does love herself, but not nearly enough. She still tries to please people. I'm not into the people pleasing business. I'm saying, hey, if you're willing to put in the effort, if you're willing to exercise, diet, meditate, and study, I'm going to try to guide you to those things that are going to help you have a super healthy life. But if you're not going to put in the effort, fine, go do it someplace else. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm not running for any office. I don't care about status, wealth, power, fame. I do want some money, but I deserve the money I get. I worked hard in the U.S. for 45 years. I paid my taxes. I did not like that a big chunk of my money went to the military. I don't think people should be fighting with each other. And if people are fighting with each other, you're never going to be part of my group. Now, that being said, I won't train you. I'll train anybody. Hell, I'll train Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They're going to go through penance. They're going to put in the time, and they're going to live a life of a minimalist for at least 10 years. They're going to have food and water. They'll have shelter. And they're going to exercise daily, probably 3 to 4 hours. They're going to study science, history, math. They're going to study. They're going to practice and study secular Buddhism, secular Taoism, my brand of secular Buddhism, secular Taoism, again, my brand, and secular Confucianism. And they're going to study NLP, and they're going to study psychology. They're going to study cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. They're going to study DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. They're going to do everything that I've done, or and they're still never going to be part of my group. I'll train them, just like you. If you're out there and you've been behaving like a fucked up individual, you're never going to be my friend. Got all the friends I need. Here in the Philippines, people treat me like a leader. They look up to me. They treat me with respect. But excuse me. I'm not a leader. I'm a founder. I was the founder of this group, and I'm a guide and mentor and a coach. Chicken is still warm. The thigh is my favorite part. So I intermittent fast. Why? Because it helps regulate my mind. I feel good. I loved intermittent fast. I'm good at it. I've been doing it since the age of 10. Now, when I was 10, I didn't intermittent fast by choice. I did it because my parents were trying to make their fortune, and they sacrificed the welfare of my brother and sister and me. My brother and I and my sister were beat for stealing food. A lot of times we didn't have, most of the time we went to school, we didn't have breakfast. There was no breakfast material there. Thank God, because cereal is a poison. There was a couple gallons of, there was a couple, there was about a gallon of milk in the fridge, 2 half gallons, and my brother would lay claim to one of the half gallons by putting his filthy mouth on it and drinking right out of the carton. He's a full-blown narcissist. And my sister and I would share the other half gallon. But I hated school. I didn't like going to school. I got up so late, I didn't even have time to, I wasn't even hungry in the morning. I was given no lunch money after the age of 10. We would do sports after work, after school. I did this all the way through high school. So I became an intermittent faster. Now my brother, he always had his half gallon of milk in the morning. And if my sister and I didn't lay claim to our half gallon of milk in the morning, he would run home and put his dirty mouth all over that half gallon. My sister and I survived on Wonder Bread and peanut butter. And most of the time there was no peanut butter. So my sister was clever and she made sugar cinnamon toast with butter. We almost always had butter because my dad loved butter. I would eat the butter toast, but I wouldn't eat the toast with sugar and cinnamon on it. My sister became addicted to that. She's paid the price. My sister and brother always had lunch money. I didn't. And there's a funny story about that I'll tell you at another time. But basically, my brother stole my lunch money. So he had like a double lunch every day. Now he's paying the price for not becoming an intermittent faster. It's funny because when we were in school, and we were always doing sports, we played football, baseball, basketball. We were on the swim team. We really had a well-rounded, and because we were twins, we were always fighting. So, when we got into high school, we did martial arts. I'm not a fighter. I hated fighting. I'm not a big fan of family values. My brother is. He's like a nationalist. He's family values kind of guy. He's highly identified with his ego. I can't help those people. Cannot. My sister's got that same problem. She's highly ego identified, but her ego is crushed. That's my first little sister. She's 2 years younger than me. I've got one that's 15 years younger. Spoiled brat. sociopath almost, histrionic personality disorder. If you don't know what that is, look it up. She craves attention. She's a drama queen. Not my brother. He's just a plain old run-of-the-mill narcissist. He only beats up on people who are, well, I wouldn't say that. He beats up on everybody. He's mean. But it's like, when you're mean and you're a narcissist, you end up living a very, very lonely life. So, Buddhist mistake. Number one, in my view, because Buddhism, for me, means the bad hole or the non-functioning wheel or the non-functioning mind or the mind that doesn't function so well. It's not non-functioning, it just doesn't function well. Because of that biological condition in the triune brain and the misinformation that we're fed and the core beliefs, the family values that we attach ourselves to. These people, they become racist, xenophobes, homophobes. My mother was all of this. Always trying to control the lives of our friends, of who we had as friends. We weren't really allowed to have friends. And the reason we did have friends is because how can you control somebody when they're outside the home and in school? You can't. I love it because these people these MAGA people who voted for Donald Trump think that he's their friend. Joe Rogan thinks that Elon Musk is his friend. That's what I call delusional. I have a lot of friends. They pretty much do what I do. Mind their own business and stay out of other people's business. They take care of their health. Because if they don't, they're not my friend. They treat people fairly. They don't try to mind fuck them. I saw just today, Elon Musk was mind fucking Joe Rogan again. And Joe Rogan is like, he's so stupid, he just goes, yeah, I was suckered. It's like, hey, sucker, you're a big influencer on the YouTube channel. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, why don't you shut the fuck up? But I like Joe Rogan, don't get me wrong. He'll never be my friend because he's too stupid. I like stupid people, but they're not my friends because stupid people do stupid things. They bring harm to other people. If you've got a stupid friend in your life, unfriend that motherfucker. They're going to do something stupid and ruin your life. Besides that, if you're an emotional person, you're going to become attached to them. And they're probably going to end up doing something horrible to themselves. I don't know, some drug use or some impetuous act like here in the Philippines, what are they all doing? Riding around on these motorcycles, high speed, flip flops for shoes, no helmets, no protective clothing, at high speeds, speeds over 60 miles an hour on these messed up roads. Why? That's just stupid. I see a lot of people in the Philippines here, they become so mad. Mad people are stupid people. Mad people are people who neglect their own health and they neglect and they inadvertently cause harm to other people. Bad people intentionally cause harm to other people. People like me, I help people and I take care of my own health. I don't rely on anybody. I rely upon this guy right here. If I'm not doing it, I kick my own ass. And I don't kick my ass because I do my tasks. I study every day. 5, 6, 8 hours, sometimes even more. I'm constantly writing. I'm constantly reading. I can't talk to you now like this because I'm stupid. I'm an expert in many fields. I'm a master of discipline. How do you know I'm a master of discipline? Well, let me tell you, you try intermittent fasting from the age of 10 and get up to my age of 70 and eat one meal a day. And then twice a week do alternate day fasting where you don't eat anything. You don't think that's going to require some discipline? Think again. I challenge any one of you to do what I've done. I used to weigh 306 pounds, 141 and a half kilos. This morning I weighed 71 kilos. My weight will go up and down. It goes up to about 72, 73 kilos, down to 69, 68 kilos. Depends. I'm not going to eat on Sunday. I didn't eat on Wednesday. That's a 48-hour fast for you kiddies out there that aren't aware of that. Try it. Some people, I ask a lot of people here, have you ever fasted before? They say, yeah, I fast from my last meal of about 6 o'clock, and then I don't eat till 6 in the morning. And I say, okay, so that's kind of a fast, but you're not really intermittent fasting. Some people don't think they can go 3-4 hours without food. They're eating all day long, 5-6 meals a day. It's a very common Filipino custom to eat 5 or 6 meals a day. How do they do that? Well, they eat smaller meals. They eat a lot of complex carbohydrates, rice, pancit, pandesal, these breads that they have, spaghetti, real popular, very cheap foods, rich in carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, sugars. You wonder, why is the world getting fat? Well, it's because you're eating too many complex carbohydrates and you're eating trans fats, not even healthy fats, along with them. But even if you're eating healthy fats with sugar, you've simply made the food hyperpalatable and now it's become a drug addiction. Yes, sugar is a drug. Refined sugars are a drug. Complex carbohydrates mixed with a fat are a drug. You become addicted to it. And then with all the stress, with everybody, at least 80% of the world, 80% minimum, have what they call social anxiety disorder. Ask yourself, do you feel anxious as are you completely in control of your own behaviors? I am. You know when you're in control of your own behaviors because you exercise 2 or 3 hours every day. For me, it's every morning. I walk, I swim, I ride bikes, I play sports. I've done this now for the last 16 years. I'm never going to stop. It makes my brain feel good, gives me energy, builds my muscles. You build your muscles, you burn the fat. If you want to lose weight, build muscle. You're initially going to put some weight on. You have to eat calories in order to build muscle. If you calorie restrict, you're going to lose muscle. You can't calorie restrict. It's a horrible way to lose weight. Calorie restriction is probably the biggest lie that was ever told on this planet. So many people say, I'm going on a diet. It's like, God, I feel sorry for them. They're going to feel miserable for the next, I don't know, month, 2 months, 6 months, year, whatever. When you calorie restrict, you are messing with yourself. Now, if you're intermittent fasting, it helps because you're just not going to be hungry. But your mood, ooh, your energy, ooh, way down. My energy, I'm a 70-year-old man. I run every day. Do you? I'm a 70-year-old man. I intermittent fast every day. I have done so since the age of 10. Do you? I'm a 70-year-old man. I don't eat sugar. Do you? I'm a 70-year-old man. I study. Like, I science the shit out of everything every day. I'm curious. Are you? I have a great life. I have a lot of friends. Do you? Or are you hanging out in your hidey hole, procrastinating, miserable? If you can't say yes to sharpening the saw, and if you have bad habits, you don't know how to manage yourself emotionally. You're not regulating your emotions. You're not regulating your behaviors. You want to regulate your behaviors, regulate your emotions. Sharpen the saw. Exercise. Eat healthy. This is my one and only meal of the day. Almost 3 o'clock. I read a lot of good books. I read fiction. I read history. I read mystery books and literature. I read a lot of self-help. I study the shit out of YouTube because that's my current passion. Oh, by the way, thanks to all you people out there who watch, like, and subscribe. My goal with our YouTube channel is to get this information that I have here in a noggin, because I don't want to write a book. I just want to talk about what I do and what works for me, because what works for me will work for you if you have discipline. And yes, I teach 4 disciplines in my practice. Balance. Number 1, you got to have balance. If you don't balance your life, you're screwed. Number 2, delayed gratification. If you can't intermittent fast, if you can't exercise every day, then you don't know what delaying gratification is. Watch the marshmallow experiment. See how hard it is for kids to delay gratification. Only 1 out of 3 succeed. This typically goes right into your adult life. People who can delay gratification end up being successful, and people who can't, they're not successful. They followed these experiments, but watch the experiment itself. They were done in the 1960s by Walter Mischel. The marshmallow experiment. Now, you can train anybody to delay gratification. Anybody can learn it. Even a dog can learn to delay gratification. Taking responsibility. Delay gratification, balance, Tell the truth. Have strong moral and ethics. Never compromise your integrity. People wonder, hey, Tim, why is it that you have such a problem with Republicans? It's because the motherfuckers have no integrity. They voted for a convicted felon. They voted for somebody who did the R word there and then ran a smear campaigner on top of that and continues to lie and cheat and steal. He's a con man. He has no integrity. And you people who voted for him supported that bullshit. You're never going to be my friend, ever. Same thing with these religious leaders. They're no friends of mine. They're no friends of yours. They're telling you how to behave, and they don't even behave correctly themselves. Wake up, people. A lot of people say, well, you're a woke motherfucker, Tim. I say, and you're not? Don't tell me, anybody who tells me that they're not an atheist in this age of information, I just think, what are you, 7 years old? Or are you completely fucking illiterate? Why would anybody be anything other than a rational humanist, an atheist, an agnostic atheist, in the day and age of information? That's stupid. I don't have stupid friends. I've got a lot of friends. I've got a lot of acquaintances. Bad people and mad people. Not too many people are like me. Not too many people can sharpen the saw like I do. I tell the truth, and people hate a truth teller. I delay gratification every fucking day. You think it's easy? Give it a try. I take responsibility. That's one of the things my old man pushed on me ever since I can remember. Take responsibility for yourself. You're responsible for your actions. Don't be a dumbass and fuck people over. And if you have a family and you're not taking responsibility for your health, you're fucking your family. I won't tolerate it in my group. I'm a never Trumper and I always will be. And if I haven't said it today, fuck Trump. Oh, and fuck MAGA. And if you voted for Trump, fuck you. And I love it because MAGA's like they're talking to me like, when you voted for Kamala Harris, you like Joe Biden. It's like, you're goddamn rights I do. Those are people with integrity. And you know what? I'm not going to listen to any fucking thing you say because you fucking voted for Trump. Despicable. Disgusting. But on that note, kids, the main purpose of today, the mistake the Buddhists made, modern day Buddhists, they've misinterpreted the word. It's been lost in translation. It's not suffering. It's not from my point of view, and that's not what I teach. It's not suffering. It's not dissatisfaction. It's simply something that doesn't work. And people's minds are not working. And they're not working for a variety of reasons. And we can discover those reasons. Maybe it's family values. Maybe you got a narcissist in your life. Maybe you're simply not doing your tasks. I don't know. We can figure that shit out. I can help you. Maybe you can do it on your own. You don't need my help. Doesn't matter to me. I'm successful. Tell the truth. Delay gratification. Take responsibility and have balance in your life. or counterbalance. Mmm. Look at all that food I got left over. A couple of eggs. All this meat. Can't eat it. I ate all the saging. Saging is banana and Filipino. Got all that salad left and good juice too. Mm, yeah. Oh yeah, the juice is good. Okay, people. I'm done with my lecture on dukkha. First mistake the Buddhists made is the belief that dukkha means suffering, and the second mistake they made is trying to solve the problem of suffering. This is like having a war on terror or going on a diet to lose weight. People look at fat like it's the problem. Fat's not the problem, it's the presenting problem. The reason you're fat is because you don't exercise and you don't diet. You haven't got a plan. You don't know what to eat. But you want to lose weight, build muscle, get fit, train to failure. There's a lot of strategies and techniques that I can teach you, but you can learn it on your own. You don't need me. And if you think I'm an asshole, don't tell anybody, because I love to see the look on their face when they find out for themselves. On that note, namaste.